In the years I've been reviewing films, I hate to say this, but I've gotten kinda numb to certain types of movies. Amongst that list would be low-budget horror films. I get it, they're a gateway genre for a lot of filmmakers, but when you've seen so many of them, they all start to get predictable in terms of when a jump scare is coming, or how the main character's plans are going to get mucked with by the villain. That said, to this film's credit, it at least utilizes the ideas it has in an interesting way, and most importantly, doesn't overstay its welcome. Lights Out is one of those horror films where it helps if you know as little as possible going in. That way you can actually be genuinely surprised by some of the details and twists the story unveils. For the most part, the story actually has a good layer of mystery that would have been helped a little bit by having some more ambiguity about what's actually happening. The cold opens set the right tone, but even then, some of the CG elements implemented in the film kind of breaks the illusion a little bit because it looks a little too polished. That's kind of why I'm happy the film used it as sparingly as it could. Like I mentioned earlier, a great deal of the jump scares are fairly predictable if you know how the beats usually work, where everything will suddenly go quiet, the characters will look around for a bit, and then BAM! It happens. However, this film doesn't rely solely on its jump scares to create its horror, as it takes great care to build its atmosphere and its mystery. What ultimately helps the film is the fact that it's so short. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes. It sets the stage, lays out the beats, gives you details to fuel the mystery, and then wraps up really quickly. It was kind of like watching the cinematic equivalent of a short story, or a feature-length version of a Tales from the Crypt episode, Sans the Crypt Keeper. To me, I feel like this film does what Oculus should have done. Focus on telling one story really well, sprinkle a little bit of mystery throughout the narrative rather than giving us an exposition dump at the very beginning, and actually have some payoff to a plot detail that's mentioned during the early moments of the film. Bonus points for splitting the difference in terms of having both a child and a teen protagonist that most people won't find credible, so that the people they would normally go to for help won't believe them. Overall, it's a nice little horror flick that doesn't overstay its welcome and actually tells its story really well. I'd recommend it as a film you would put on the list of a private Halloween movie marathon. That said, there's not much here that warrants seeing it in a theater at full price, especially in the summer, except for by virtue of wanting to get away from the genre films that currently crowd the market. Even then, it's one of those films that, while enjoyable, doesn't carry a lot of staying power once you're finished with it. At the very least, it's competently put together and knows when to keep things moving and when to slow down, which is commendable compared to the other garbage people like to pass off as horror that we've been subjected to in recent history. All of that said, Lights Out gets a 4 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.